In this video, we're going to be building a client onboarding portal in Zite, and then we are upgrading it with some of Zite's newest business features, including Stripe payments, PDFs from data, and ChatGPT integration. So if you're ready to build impressive business applications that do far more than just exist in one environment, but take you outside of that to collect payment, create PDFs, and more, stick around and let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Gareth and this is Gap Consulting. It's our mission here to help you unlock the full potential of no-code tools as well as AI tools and vibe coding tools like Zite. And Zite is honestly leading the pack when it comes to internal and external application builders that you can build with just a few prompts. Now, before we get into it, I want to encourage you to follow along with me. If you don't already have a Zite account, you can use our link, which I will share wherever you found this video. Sign up, get some free AI credits, and start putting them to use so that you can see exactly how powerful this tool truly is. Now, we're going to start this whole thing with a prompt, and we're going to build the initial system just from that. Plain language, and we're going to drop it right on in. So let's get right to it. I've already put this whole message together. Now, the thing to call out here is that you can get up to 15,000 characters in your prompt. So put as much information in here as you can. I find it really helpful if I'm working already with Claude or ChatGPT in another window. And as you can see, I've done exactly that here. Now, a couple of things to call out before we actually hit, send on this. Number one, I've toggled on plan first. And that's because this is one of the newer, better features from Zite, and you're going to see it in action here. This has come a long way, and you're going to just get, like I said, see the actual output, and we're going to do it here in the video. And over here, you can set up your branding. Now, we've done this in previous videos. We've shown you how to create your branding. It's quite simple. And if you've already created that, you can just go ahead and reference it here. And the app that we build is going to be with your brand kit assigned. So we've put together our initial prompt. As I said, let's go ahead, make sure that we've got plan first in here, and we're going to send it through. So Zite has thought for about 30 seconds or so, and now it's coming back to us with some questions. So let's go ahead and answer these. You'll notice that Zite is also calling out which one it recommends. But first and foremost, it's saying, how should the app distinguish between internal members and clients? So one way would be we could say anyone with a certain domain is an internal user. The other way is we put a field here where it's like a role field, and we set the role of every user to either client or internal. And that's what I want. The recommendation is correct. But we could also write in a different approach if we had another option that we wanted it to consider. I'll go with the recommendation. Next, when a client visits the portal, how do they get linked to a client record? That's a great question. So let's see. It's suggesting that client fills out the onboarding form that creates the client record automatically. That makes a lot of sense. The other way is the internal team pre-creates a client record and invites them by email. That also makes a lot of sense. So of course, option C is the right one, both. We're going to do A and B. Clients can self-register or be created by the team. Perfect. Next question here. This is 3 of 3. For an assigned consultant field on the clients table, how should this work for now? So is it simple text? Just type in the consultant's name. Is it a drop-down with a fixed name of consultants? Or is it a linked record to separate the consultants and team members table? What I really want to do is have one table for consultants and one member for team members. So we will just go with simple text for now, as recommended. This probably isn't the final version of the app, but it's good enough to get us started. Now, this is probably the perfect time to quickly talk about what exactly we're trying to build. Now, a lot of times our workflows are fragmented, especially from the consultant perspective. We have onboarding forms that live over here. We've got like project files and forms living somewhere else, transactions and all the other information kind of floating around, not all talking to each other. And that's what we're trying to solve by consolidating this, but also building an application that allows our end users, our clients, to actually log in. Now, what Zite is doing on the screen right now is actually creating the plan. And the part that I love about the new upgraded plan is right here. It's doing a sketch preview to kind of show you, hey, this is what this is going to look like when the app is actually built. And I've been using this pretty extensively. I am seeing that this is really accurate. But having that sketch preview is honestly helping everyone to visualize exactly what's getting created so much more easily. Now, I want to call out again that we've only done one prompt here, right? This was a long prompt. I almost maxed out the 15,000 possible characters in my initial prompt, but it is just one prompt. So Zite is quite good at analyzing all of this and understanding how these things interrelate. Now, I do think that any application that you build is only as good as the prompts you put together. So make sure to spend time upfront coming together with your initial prompt just so that you get a better outcome. I would say this is possibly one of the most important prompts. But don't expect your application to be perfect. As we're going to show in this video, it's not going to be correct right after the first prompt, and we're going to take additional steps, especially because we want to lean into some of those newer features. So it was just a little under 5 minutes and our entire plan has now come together. And you'll notice that it is not a small document. I mean, this whole thing is pretty complex. We've got up to 15 pages built off of our initial prompt. So about 1,000 words to a page based on our setup. So here we can come in and edit each of these sections. So if we want to refine how this has been spelled out, we can do that without affecting the overall plan. So each of these different pages or sections of the plan is a specific component of the overall app. So as an example, here's our welcome page. This is the first impression for new or returning clients. We've got a client dashboard. Again, this is external facing. But then if we keep going down later, oh, here's our onboarding form. But if we keep going down, we're going to find that we have some internal things built as well. So we have our internal team's dashboard so they can see their own version because we have these different roles inside of the system. So all of this has been documented. Again, at the beginning of any one of these sections, we have a little bit of just, plain English about what this section is. Then we get the preview under that. And then things about like the workflows. So inline task creation capability or how we can edit things or different actions that might need to be taken. So go ahead and review the plan. Any changes you need to make, you can make them directly here. Also note that with the new planning tool, we can also download the entire plan as a PDF. This is really helpful, especially if you're working with other AI tools like Claude or ChatGPT in separate threads. You can download this, ask them to analyze the overall plan and make changes for you. So again, really just helping with collaboration across AI tools. But once we're ready to send it, we're going to hit build plan and then come back once this has been put to work. So it took a considerable amount of time for Zite to build the app, but now you see that it has in fact created at least the initial version of the app. Now, as I said earlier, we don't expect it to be perfect off of the first prompt, but it is the foundation on which we're going to build. So the first thing you normally would do here is kind of go through and preview the app, making sure that it acts the way that you would expect it to as you're, kind of exploring. So we could go through, the client experience, either sign in here as ourselves and preview the app. Here, we haven't already set up our profile, so we would need to create one. I'll set up my name, sign up in the app. Again, we're in preview mode, but this would allow us then to log in. And then inside the app, now that we're logged in, we can see the onboarding steps. All of this built with just one prompt. We see if we were to complete the onboarding form, that would be the first step here. So let's go ahead and do that. You can see that we've got some information already filled out. And I'll just fill this out quickly so we can move on to the next step. Now I filled out all the required fields and some of the other ones. Let's go ahead and submit our onboarding details. And this is going to now tell us, hey, you have 1 out of your 5 sections complete. Let's go back to the dashboard. So now we have to confirm payment, but we don't really have that particular part of this built yet. And that's because we have not yet integrated our app with Strike. Now, the good thing is we can do this with just a prompt. This is one of the key new features from Zite is the Stripe integration right inside of our app. So I have already a prompt that I've built separately. I'm going to drop it in here. Note that because I already have thought through this prompt, I don't want to start with the plan. If you have not already kind of thought through exactly what you want, you might do this first. I would recommend it at least. But for us, because we've already done the thinking already, I'm just going to say build, and then we're going to come back once Zite has gone through this setup. So here is the output that we got from Zite. But first I want to show you the exact prompt that I used. It was not particularly complicated. I just told Zite to add a Stripe-powered payment step, mentioned that it needs to have a payment page where the client can pay $2,500 for a project's deposit. That's all we've really asked for. We also are saying, hey, after a successful payment, set the payment status to paid, update the client record so that we see that it's paid, show the payment status on the client dashboard, etc., etc. So pretty straightforward. Now, this is the update to the app. You'll notice there's a new button here, Pay Project Deposit. When I click on this, it takes me right here, and you'll notice if you have spent any time in Stripe, you'll notice that this is Stripe embedded or integrated directly into our application. So we don't have to worry about any of the authentication, any of the privacy information. This is now communicating with Stripe, but the client never left our app. And so we have the ability now just to make so much more powerful applications that take care of payment right in the app. So here it is. I'd have to put in my credit card number, my expiration date, and then of course, match up my country and my CVC, and then I could make the payment directly here. Now, once that is done, it's going to handle all of the other stuff on the back end. You can see that because I clicked on payment, it already took me to a pending status here. So, I mean, pretty quick and easy here. One prompt created the payment page, and I can now integrate directly with Stripe to handle payment right inside of the application. Now, the next amazing feature that I really want to highlight is that we can, with our Zite data, create a PDF and expose it inside of our app or share it in another way as we see fit. So I want to actually showcase this for our clients who went through the onboarding form. Let's imagine that we put together a prompt that tells Zite to allow our system to create a PDF from the onboarding information. It should include all of the stuff that they filled out in their intake form. Let's go ahead and send that prompt through and take a look at what Zite produces. Now, Zite has finished with its updates, and let's take a look at what it gave us. So it's telling us here that a Generate Onboarding Summary PDF button now lives at the top of, and this is the important part, the internal client detail page. We haven't really explored the internal client side of things yet. So where exactly is this? So the internal client, my guess from the way they phrased this is the internal user, the person on our team who's going to access this information in the system. So let's go into our database to make sure that we can update the user here. So we have this role, and it should be defaulting to client. In fact, let's set a default value here for this role. But I want to intentionally make it internal team. That way, when I access the app as myself, I'm previewing it as myself, I should be able to see this from the perspective of the user in the team. So if I dive into the client here and I look at the client detail, here is that button that was just created for us. Generate Onboarding Summary PDF. Let's push it and see exactly what happens. So we see in another table here, or in another window, this is opened up. It says Onboarding Summary. This PDF was absolutely just created for us. It has the information that I filled out on the onboarding form, and it includes everything from my current payment status, the email, the website that I put in, and of course, anywhere I didn't fill in information, it's leaving that blank, but still calling it out. So you can see that this entire PDF was properly generated. If we look at the database here, I don't see that this PDF lives in the database anywhere. It may be added to the onboarding submissions, but I don't think that we told Zite in our prompt to actually put that PDF anywhere other than to create it. We do see that it says every generated PDF. Oh, here we go. I apologize. It's saved to the generated documents. So let's flip over in there and see exactly what happened. So it did create the document. It linked it to me. We've got the onboarding summary. Here's the document URL, which is what we stored there. And anybody can access that. Pops up the PDF just like that. So pretty cool stuff. I mean, the fact that we can now create simple PDFs from just a prompt and say, hey, access our data, put it into a PDF. We could share this, of course, in emails or other kinds of workflows, and we could also surface it to our clients and internal users as well. Let me actually take this back to client here, and I'm going to go back into the app, access as the client now, and see if we can see that that payment, or rather that summary. Here it is. We see our document in our portal because this was created by the internal team, and we can just click here to view the PDF and be taken right to it. So pretty powerful stuff to be able to, just with a few words, prompt Zite to create some PDFs. Now let's dive into AI enrichment. And specifically, I want this to happen at the data layer. So you'll notice I kind of quickly flipped around here, and I want to really make sure that we're intentional about understanding what the different layers of Zite are. So far, we've mostly worked from the app. This is the place where people are going to see it. This is what people log into. This is the actual user experience. But this would just be a website if not for the data layer. This is where all the information lives. We have users, clients, onboarding submissions, uploading files, follow-up tasks, all kinds of information in our data layer that is driving the application. Also, we have our workflows. Every time we are getting information from the data layer to surface it in the app, here you can see where we're integrating with Stripe. Any custom code is going to be here as well. And then lastly, our users. Of course, this pulls from the database table for users, but this is showing us actual users, and it's showing us that it's synced from the Zite database. So for this next piece, let's go to the data layer, and we'll send through a prompt here. I just want to have a chat about adding some AI integration. I want to add AI enrichment fields right into the database layer. And so I'm calling out in my prompt, add this to the submissions table. We want to generate an AI summary, a recommended service fit based on the information we get from the onboarding submission, and I want them to call out if there's any important missing information. This can all be done using AI agents right inside of the table itself. Let's see what it turns out. So just a few more moments there, and Zite has completed this most recent prompt. Let's take a look at what it actually built by flipping into our onboarding submissions. This table, if you recall, holds the submission that I filled out as a new user in the app. And so you can see my timeline, my budget range, etc. And the new pieces that we added were these, the AI summary fields. So this was all done right by our prompt. And it's telling us that, certain information is missing. We have required fields that are not filled out. And that's probably because I didn't fill out all of the information here when I completed the initial onboarding form. So can we actually, force it? Let's see. We can trigger it to generate this with AI. And yep, sure enough, it is giving us an output saying the client aims to streamline this. It's using information based on how we filled out the form. We have a timeline over 3 months and a budget at 10K. So the financial resources are aligned with the comprehensive size or redevelopment of the project, which all lines up. In terms of recommended services, we notice that it's not qualified yet. So I don't know if there's a reason that the AI has said, this person doesn't necessarily meet one service or the other, but this is how it's categorizing it. And then lastly, here's all the missing information. This is probably why the recommended services are not qualified, because we didn't fill out enough information on the onboarding form. But these AI agents, these are able to actually act on the information in our database in real time. And we can set up all kinds of different rules for how they work in the advanced settings. We can say, run this automatically. use a particular model. We can skip it if a cell already has information. And we can even toggle on web search so that it can do more powerful things by researching it on the web. Now, once we have these components built, this is all really helpful, but now we can take this even further by integrating this with our ChatGPT outside of Zite. So we can now interact with the data that already lives in our database. And that can be handled here by setting up an integration with ChatGPT. Let's find it. So right here, we can connect OpenAI, and other models are coming soon, I'm sure. If we look for Anthropic, you'll notice that it is also available here. So we can actually connect with these other external tools and query information about our database. So if we were to go ahead and fill this out for connecting with ChatGPT, you'll notice that right now I've already said to use Zite's OpenAI, but I would need to connect a new account and then, of course, set up my custom API key so I could have my own queries going in and out with my own ChatGPT through my own codes. So this way, we are able to actually query our database, figure out what's going on in our actual system, and we can run all of that through prompts in ChatGPT and other AI tools coming soon. So that sums it up for this video. Some pretty powerful new features that you got to see live. Specifically, the ability to plan, the ability to integrate with Stripe, the ability to create PDFs from our data, and ultimately build AI agents and query through with ChatGPT integration. These new features allow us to do way more than we could before with Zite, and this is now truly building powerful internal and external business applications that can process payment, produce PDFs and other files, and ultimately help you streamline and organize your business like never before. I hope you got a ton of value from the video. If you did and you want to see more content like this, be sure to give it a thumbs up and, of course, subscribe to the channel. On the other hand, if you're looking for guidance or answers to how you can move forward with your next no-code and vibe coding build, swing by our website and sign up for a free strategy call. We offer a 20-minute call with our team, and you can sign up for free at gapconsulting.io/strategy-call. And from that call, you're going to walk away with clarity on your next steps. I hope you got a ton of value from this video. Thanks for tuning in, and most importantly, keep on building.